Namaste, I'm Shivaswati. Welcome to the Voice of God channel. This video is about understanding which animal type rebirth you will get when you are dead. So animal type depends on your consciousness. If you are constantly focused on casual sex and liquor and alcohol, you will get the birth of and you are very loyal, then you will get the birth of a dog. Because when your body leaves, it's just your consciousness which is measured, and you get the consciousness which is in matching frequency with the consciousness you had at death. So if you have a desire for speed, and if you can carry other people ambitions with your own, like you have a business sense, or you are running an enterprise, a company, and there are several depending on you. You can carry people on your back, plus you can think and organize a bit. Then you get the rebirth of a horse. If you can carry things on your back, on other people's orders, if you are doing other people's work all the time, if you are not really thinking about yourself, and you are not focused about creating your own reality, then you get the rebirth of a donkey. If you are feeling unloved all the time, and if you are manipulative and bitter all the time because you are feeling unloved, you get the rebirth of a lizard. If you are focused on excessive sexual pleasures all the time, body sex, and intertwining and getting inside other people's aura, and feeling life through sex, you get the rebirth of a snake. If you are excessive focused on self-centered, and you are cleaning yourself all the time, and only focused on the house, not on the relationships, you get the rebirth of a cat. And then if you are focused on copying others, very academic and very intellectual, but you're always copying other people's words, you're always quoting other people, and you have not much to offer creatively yourself. Your contribution is just to interpret or translate or quote or speak from other people's other great philosophers or other great scientists. You're quoting them all the time. And your inventions are also both based on quoting them, and you're not much connected with your inner self, with your God self. Then you get the rebirth of a monkey or an ape, where you're only aping others. So most of the academics and people who deny the soul and who deny God, they are still apes at the soul level, because they deny the existence of God within themselves. And so normally they get a rebirth of a monkey or an ape or a ant who is very hardworking. So it is your connection to God which makes a way for a human rebirth. If you want to be human, if you are want to be reborn as a human, then all parts of you should connect to God, and you should be above fear, and you should be connected spiritually to your inner self. You should believe more in spirituality than in rituals, because rituals are for apes. So rituals are monkey traditions. They are for people who cannot connect to God freely with their own vibration, and they need steps, they need ladders of rituals. So again, rituals are again rebirths of a cow or a ape or a monkey. Or if you are very motherly and milking others all the time, sacrificing yourself all the time, and not taking care, eating junk like grass, so you get the rebirth of a cow. If you are totally focused on drugs and beauty, and looking beautiful for the camera or for the films, and not really focused on your health and on your peace of mind, then you can get the rebirth of a bird. A bird like a flamingo, or a bird like a duck. So depends on where your focus is. If the higher births, if you are conscious of other people's awareness, if you're conscious of helping other people, if you're conscious that your existence spreads beauty in the universe, and if you're conscious that you need to look good because other people are happy looking at you, then you get the rebirth of a peacock. If you are very much conscious of love and of a twin soul connection, you can get the rebirth of a swan, because swans are normally twin souls. They have only one partner all their lives. If you think you are very beautiful and you walk with a beautiful grace, and you're constantly stuck upon fashion, then you get the rebirth of a duck, because they are more concerned about physical beauty than of their contribution to the universe, to the betterment of the universe. So it is your vibration which will decide which rebirth you will get. To have a human and a rebirth of an animal at the same time is also possible, that your soul splits into several parts, and one part goes into a human birth, one part goes into an animal birth, one part will go into a relative who is very much missing you, or who is a part of you. One part will go into a lover or a spouse, or it can go into a friend, and one part can go to God. So your spirit can split into 5 parts after death, as I've sent in the blog also, written in the blog also. And your animal parts will be those where your consciousness is focused. So it does not mean that after a human birth you will necessarily become only an animal. No, you can become an animal and a human at the same time. Even at this time, you might be having simultaneous animal births. In fact, each human being has 6 or 7 animals attached to the soul, which are its frequencies of consciousness, and there can be actually real animals which are also your consciousness existing at the same time as you are. And animal births are very simple. They don't have ego issues. So if suppose you have to fight for survival and you want to do it without ego hassles, you're fed up of human ego and manipulation, competition, so then you will become an animal and fight for survival in the next life, where there are no ego issues. You simply have to fight without any mind consciousness ruling your ego. Ego makes it more complex. Ego makes the fighting for survival more complex. Ego makes you live a higher game than simply a game of survival. So if you are losing in the higher game, and if you lose interest in the higher game, and you are doing nothing for becoming a god, because after the human birth your next step is to become a demigod. So you need to contribute towards the betterment of human beings. Even if it does not pay directly, you have to contribute to be creating a better world if you want a next human birth. So if there are people who have contributed, like big politicians and big saints, so they have, but they have also committed a lot of crimes at the same time, so they get split into human births and animal births in the next life. Very often assassins, people who are murderers but who are very spiritual, become saints in the next life. Even in the same birth, if you have been a murderer and you want to become good now, and you know the jails, you are not jailed, or you have not been caught by the criminals, so then you can become a saint, and then you can contribute towards betterment in the lives of several other people. And that will, once your thought waves become neutral from negative, and you start spreading out neutral and positive vibrations, like Gautam Buddha did or Valmiki did, so then you become a saint, and then that ways you wash away your karma. But for ascension and for salvation, you have to ensure that the amount of energy, negative energy which was created by you, is converted into neutral or positive energy, because there is no space for sorrow in higher realms. You cannot go up if you are sad. So you have to be content when you go up. You have to feel like God. When you go up, only then you can merge with the consciousness of God. And feeling like God means that you have no pride at all. You should not have any arrogance or pride, because God is not arrogant or proud. God is just very knowledgeable and very wise. And God can help others and receive energy from others back as payment, and use that energy again to help others. So you're not supposed to give all the time if you're a god. You will give all the time if you have been a criminal or a policeman or a soldier who has killed several people. So in that case you will feel like giving all the time and not receiving, and you'll feel poor and victimized. So in that case you do not get salvation, and you may have been a very good person all your life, but you will not get salvation. You will get an animal rebirth, and you might get a human rebirth where you are able to receive in the next life. Like you might have a rich life where you receive wealth. So it depends. Your karma does matter. Your next life depends on how good you feel at the moment of death. And it is animal lifetimes are very short. So even if you get an animal lifetime, then once you're dead as an animal, and if you are killed by a human, you enter a human body and again become a human. For example, if you are born as a chicken and you are killed by a human being and eaten by another human being, so you become human by being eaten. Or even the person who kills you, you can even enter that person's body. So the moment you are killed as an animal, you enter, and if you are killed by a human being, your energy will go into the energy of the person who has killed you, and you will become human again. So that is why in God's realms, justice is given at energy terms, and murder and cruelty is not directly punished, because sometimes when a man is cruel to an animal, then that animal becomes the man after the death of the animal, and then karmic punishment automatically follows, because an angry animal will create an angry man and he will create problems for himself directly. So the God's laws of justice are far more workable than criminal laws, because criminal laws depend on evidence, and evidence is not always available. But the God's laws of justice work from inside. So if you kill someone, that person comes inside you and starts hitting you from inside, and you stop disbelieving yourself from inside. You don't trust yourself even, because there is a murderer, the energy of a person whom you have murdered. Or if you are murdered by someone, you will enter the body of that person, and the energy of the murderer is inside you. So till you can come out of that body, or till you can convert that murderer into good, you will face problems all the time. So whether you are a murderer or you have been murdered, you are into problems because you have gone into a negative path of thinking, which has attracted a murder or unhappiness in your life. Whether you are a victim or an abuser, you are into a negative path and you don't get salvation. You have to be content, and you have to help others feel content, not just help others with money or food, or you give clothes away. They have to feel content with your work. They have to learn contentment, the process of contentment. Then you get positive energy from them, and that helps in your own salvation. So the process is of learning contentment and satisfaction, and the money or the wealth or the fame that you earn on the way is a tool to earning contentment and satisfaction at the end of life. And if the path is so confusing that you get carried away by money or fame or wealth in dark sides, then you have to come back to the side of contentment, learning contentment and satisfaction, to find contentment in the next life. If you find contentment at the moment of death, and you feel peaceful that you have lived a good life, and that you feel powerful as being a part of God, then you get a human birth in the next life, or you may become a demigod. You may go into the God realms. So it is your frequency of vibration of thinking which decides that whether you have an animal birth or a human birth. Also, your food also will affect your thinking. If you eat too much fish, fish are always in water, so you will always be crying. Over time, you will find that your energy is focused around tears, because fish like water. If you eat too much chicken, you will feel like a victim, because chicken feel abused and killed. There are several soldiers who are reborn as a chicken, because soldiers kill innocent souls in wars and they have to pay back. So they are born as a chicken, and then they are slaughtered, and then they get human birth by being eaten. So the food you eat will affect your vibrational frequency. If you eat too much meat, buffalo meat, or so then you will feel like driven like an ox, and you are working all the time like buffaloes do. And if you eat meat of insects and spiders, you get the pandemic. So it actually affects vibrations, mass consciousness, the food that you eat. And to get salvation, people keep asking, this is my last life and I want salvation in the next life. So for that, you really have to work hard on your thinking patterns, and you have to understand other people's problems. You cannot simply blame and complain and say this person did that or that person did that. You have to use past life therapy, age regression, energy cord cutting to get out of these problems spiritually, and believe literally that the world is a happy place, and then you can contribute towards creating a happier world. And when you are contributing towards creating a happier world without blaming others, then you get salvation, because then you are no longer spreading negativity by choice, you are spreading positivity by choice. It is when you are spreading positivity by choice and you have no more desires which make you negative, then you can get salvation and move into higher realms or move into a next cycle of life, new lessons or higher grades. So it is not an easy process, it is a very complex process. But if you understand energy healing, energy vibration and energy transference, then it is a easy process, because you know how to repay back karma. And once you can repay back karma, then in the same life you can move from a killer to a saint and you can get salvation. You don't need to live another life for that. And if you cannot do it in the same life, if you cannot change your heart in the same life, then you have a very difficult life, next life, if you seek salvation, so that your desires end on their own, and then you can no longer be negative that you don't have desires complete. And once you let go of your desires, once you are detached from your desires, or you have completed the desires which can be attained, then again you will get salvation and moksha, and you can go into higher realms. Thank you. Please share, like and subscribe.